We are Gurgl. I'd like to introduce you to my team. We've got Andrew, Alyssa, Thomason, and I'm Bev. Throughout the course of EDA, we've been doing lots of little projects. So we started off doing smaller group projects, and then we had individual personal projects. This is our final group project that we're presenting to you tonight. And when it came to pitch day, I think my pitch for this project went something along the lines of Gurgl. And that's because everybody who's been here has been listening to me going on and on and on about this for a couple of months. It was an idea that came to me, inspired mainly by my mum and one of my best friends who's just had a baby. And they were talking about how quickly kids grow up. And I was thinking, well, I'm walking up Cuba Street, coming to school, and I'm like, we've got op shops for grown-ups. Why is there no op shop for kids? They grow out of their clothes so quickly. They probably only use them for a few months in some cases. And where do they go? And it kind of occurred to me that we needed an op shop for kids, and we needed something that would help get fast fashion reduced, would help create a sort of circular economy where we could reuse these items and help the community, people who don't have enough money to potentially go out and buy new clothes every 3 months. And that was the idea for Gurgl. And fortunately, in EDA, I was surrounded by lovely people who believed in the idea as much as I did, and they decided to back me and make Gurgl. Andrew.
So we had 4 key project goals. They were authentication, and that we could create the user could create an account and that would remember their selected items. The second was that we would have a large collection of items, so a large database of data to work with. Third would be high code quality, excellent code quality, which is largely through thorough testing and a pretty huge testing suite. And finally, the site needed to be fully responsive in that it worked in devices of all sizes, and we really wanted it to look good. So without further ado, this is Gurgl. Now, it might be a little bit hard to believe, but right now I am a very happy new mum. I heard wonderful things about Gurgl, so I come here to check it out. There's a little bit of an introduction there on the homepage, but I'm actually here for the clothes. So very quickly, we'll have a quick look through the clothes. You can see the pagination functionality there, and I particularly like the look of these rosy baby shoes. They really speak to me. And a little bit of a description. We've got an option there for a second image if we wanted to add it. We can go back to our clothing section. I'm actually looking for something blue, so make use of the search functionality that we've incorporated here to search for blue items, a beautiful blue cute top, and a Hello World jumpsuit, if you're into that sort of thing. I really like items from farmers, so we can use our sexy filter here to search for farmers, and you can narrow it down further to age range. And that's exactly what I was looking for there. A lovely little baby blue tiered skirt. I think it'll really suit Bub. So that there is a very, very quick introduction to Gurgl.
I may not look like it, but I'm actually a very happy new dad. And I would like to create an account on Gurgl. My name is Harry. Front-end validation. Password. And now I'm successfully signed up. I'd like to come back to it later, so I log out. Log back in again. I make a little typo in my name. And the website gracefully informs me that my username and password is incorrect. I'm now inside Gurgl, browsing clothing. I'm able to favorite an item and go to my account page, and I can see my information and my favorited items. So for Gurgl project, I worked on authentication, and it was our collective vision that for Gurgl to be a product that people can use, they need to be accounts, and people need to be able to loan items out. And this is why authentication was something that we decided to tackle. And the solution that we have chosen for this project at this stage is local strategy. So we're storing usernames and hashed passwords locally. In the future, we would like to also tackle social login and get ourselves an SSL certificate. The reason I enjoyed working on authentication is because the cycle of registering and logging in involves both front-end and back-end, and I got to work and practice my front-end and back-end coding, and I got to familiarize with a lot of authentication libraries that I wouldn't otherwise touch, and it was a lot of fun.
Hi everyone. So for this project I really wanted to focus on testing and error handling and some of the basics that we haven't done as much of. I didn't do much error handling on this course, so it was really fun to go into that. I wanted to end up with a site that was kind of hard to break, so you could play around and it would work. I spent a lot of time on testing. I did a solid 2 days of it non-stop, and I loved it a lot. I enjoyed being able to touch every single part of the code. Writing tests for other people's functions and files meant that I got familiar with what everyone else on my team was doing, which was a really good experience. A big problem I found with testing was some big components that we had, and a way I got around this was refactoring and modularizing, making our functions very modular. So, for example, these rows of clothing, they were originally one function, and I ended up exporting them into a file and reusing them in 3 different parts of our site, which was fun. I did the same thing with pagination, so we have the same code repeated over again, but only written once. We have it in a single view down the bottom, so just one row, and then again in the main clothing gallery. This was a really great experience. Writing modular code like this is fun. It means that it's really testable. You only have to test in one place, and it applies to 3 separate pages. It's really consistent, because if you change one thing, everything will change, and it makes maintaining the site really easy.
So I volunteered to be Git master and immediately regretted it. It's that terrifying it inspired a game. You might have heard of it. So that basically means I was in charge of combining all the code from everyone's efforts and removing any conflicts where they did occur. We had one occasion on a Sunday when we were working apart from each other that Thomason and I wrote the same bit of code. So we had to just sort of figure out how we were going to do that. It gave me a great opportunity to work on my learning objective, which was reading other people's code and making sense of it. And that was really fantastic. I feel like I came along in leaps and bounds doing that. My other role in the project was CSS and making it look pretty and making the site, particularly making the site responsive. So it does work on all devices. It scrubs up pretty nicely, I think. Obviously, there's always going to be some things that I'd like to change. I'd love another day to work on it. But on the whole, I'm really, really pleased. It was fantastic working with these guys. We didn't feel stressed at all. I think probably the most stressful thing about our whole group project is this. So, on the whole, I think a really great project, great success, and I'm really, really happy.
My role, other than kind of conceptual person, was making sure that we were all on the same page. I think it's very difficult in group projects, especially because we're so new to this and we're still learning, that we go into these little bubbles of kind of code-driven frenzy, and we lose track of where we're at and how the project's going and what other people in our groups are doing. And I, for one, tend to get overwhelmed quite quickly, and then I freeze, panic, and don't want to talk to anyone. So I volunteered for Scrum Master. One of the jobs of the Scrum Master is to organise things, is to plan it, and considering it was all in my head, it seemed like a logical step, and to make sure that my team kind of knew what was happening and what we were doing. They're awesome. They're so amazing at self-managing and picking the tasks that they want to work on. And that really helped in terms of the agile framework that we were working within. It meant that people got to choose the chunks of code that they wanted to work on. We were able to break it down into small pieces of manageable tasks, and then everybody did what they wanted to do. If they got stuck, they raised their hand. We had twice daily check-ins, and we had a retro at the end of the day to make sure that everybody knew where we were at, what we were doing, and felt good about it. Because I'd got the coding genius of Thomason on testing, Alyssa on back-end, and my design stylerino here, my job really was left to make sure that we had a decent database. They wanted lots of seeds because we wanted you to show the pagination, because it's kind of fancy. And we wanted you to be able to favorite things and for things not to be repeating the whole time. So I was responsible for creating lots of fake things for the website, which is kind of an opportunity to kind of go shopping, which is great fun. And then make it happen. I think I was inspired by the belief in my team, excuse me, who believed that Gurgl could be a thing. And so I decided to go the extra mile and actually buy the domain name, and it is definitely going to be a thing. So please go along to gurgl.nz and check out the website. Thank you.
Questions? Nothing? Good.
Can I give you a hug there?
Yes.
I'll go on. How many tests do you have in the end?
125.
Nice.
That was 125.
When you say tests, like there were things going by on the screen, can you tell us a little bit about what that means? Like, what's actually happening?
Okay, a test is a little bit of code that asserts that your site is doing what you want it to do. The goal is to get all of the little red crosses into green ticks, which means that everything's working. And I tried to test every piece of code, basically from the back end to the front end that was standalone, so I could test it on its own without having to rely on other pieces to work.
It means when I break it, basically Thomason's written stuff that will tell me how to fix it again. It'll tell me where the error is coming from.
What are your next steps? It sounds like you're going to carry on.
Well, I have pre-prepared
Funny you should ask.
leaflets, which have my contact details. The next step really is collecting clothing. I can't have a database of clothing for people to hire without clothing. So please feel free to take them if you know anybody with kids, if you know anybody who wants to start a family, take them a leaflet and spread the word. Thank you.
What about the whole model of is it like a kind of a sharing thing or something where you pay a fee to hire? How does that logic work?
The kinks are still being worked out on that. At this stage, I'm kind of imagining it to be like you sign up for a membership, so you sign up and you pay a monthly subscription fee, but we don't take any payment until you start borrowing clothes. So you can be a member for years and just have fun looking at beautiful baby clothes and not pay anything. But then after that, the subscription fee will basically go towards paying for posting you the items that you've loaned, getting them cleaned, and paying somebody who can actually organise it all.
Yeah, sure.
There's an FAQ on www. Yeah.
Like this seems to be something that you kind of you care about. We're sort of brave to bring it into as a final project, which is maybe sometimes about learning. How did you balance was there a tension, or how did that work with like trying to get something done versus trying to learn?
I often feel like I haven't quite grasped a lot of the code that we've been taught. I've struggled a lot with my confidence through this process, and I think there was a large part of the course where I spent feeling like I didn't belong here, like I needed to roll back. So for me to have an idea that other people thought could be turned into something was such an enormous, humbling, amazing experience that from that point on I didn't really care what happened to it. They could design it the way they wanted to, they could put whatever functionality they wanted in it because they believed it could happen. But Thomason was quite strict with me when it came to a couple of because I was hiding, I think, possibly behind the idea a little bit, but she made me create the single view component and she made me test the single view component. So with help from my friends, I was able to do that and put myself outside my comfort zone with those.
Well, great job.